Well, changing the world, of course. I actually work with women and helping them speak up. I help corporate women learn how to use their voice, to speak up, to advocate for themselves in corporate America. And I also work with organizations in the area of inclusion and equity, getting people to talk to people that they don't always like, and really making certain that when we say that our corporate spaces are for people who can use their authentic voice, that feel like they belong, and that they're included, my job is to make certain that those statements are actually real things happening in organizations. So that's what I primarily do full-time. Well, being at the University of Toledo has been great. You know, I was a Rocket. I'm continuing to be a Rocket. I'm very involved in the University of Toledo athletics, helping mentor. I've also been involved with the University College, Health and Human Services. So the impact of the University of Toledo has helped me immensely, especially as a former athlete. I'm always an athlete, still an athlete. So the Rockets, the University of Toledo has helped me in so many ways to be proud of being a part of the Toledo community. And I continue to give back. So I love everything that it's given to me. And my husband. Let me add that, because that's where my husband and I met. I was running track and my husband was playing baseball, so we're Rocket lovebirds. So yes, 26 years of marriage, and I say we're doing pretty good. Settling on my life's work has been a lifelong journey. I've been that person who's chosen not to just settle. I've been pursuing my life and my soul, you know, really making certain that I just don't settle in a job, because I really want to make certain every single stage of my life has been reflective of what I know God has designed me to be. And that means that I consistently learn about myself, right? I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly going in personal and professional development trainings. And I knew when I was in college, I wanted to be an advocate. I know I wanted to be an attorney to help people know how to stand for justice. And quite frankly, that hasn't changed. It just doesn't look like mainstream things, right? I'm not practicing law in a law firm or in a corporate space. You know, I'm really helping young people learn how to live with a sense of self, understanding that their story matters, understanding that they have purpose. All the things I needed. I always say I'm the adult version of what I needed when I was younger. And my life's purpose is ever evolving. And I always tell people that it doesn't matter what age you are, never settle. Always consistently pursue what your soul is trying to speak to you. And for me, that's telling me to slow down, be quiet. And that's where I get all of my best messages from God, right? Is understanding how to know how to operate my life through my soul's calling. Receiving the University of Toledo Alumni Award means I've aged a little bit. I've been around for a little bit. But what it also tells me is that my behind the scenes work of just consistently and persistently showing up in my community, being an advocate, standing for whatever it is that I believe in, got noticed. Because I'm not waving a red flag, see me, see me. I'm busy doing the work. I'm busy making certain that I am a community advocate. I am busy making certain that, again, I am the adult version of what I needed when I was a kid. And I'm really, really making a message that anyone who goes to the University of Toledo can live out their life's purpose. It is an opportunity for you to go get your education, but the education never stops. And that to me is what winning this Alumni Award is. You know, I'm not the person who awards mean everything to me, because they don't. But it is nice to be able to be recognized. And I think that's what I actually work on with women is, you know, doing the work and doing it faithfully and with a sense of purpose and a sense of just love for who you are and what you give. It will get its attention when it needs to. And of course, in my work, I want to make certain that the corporate spaces are giving them the attention. but not having to do it in such an overt way that is self-serving. It is a way that is serving others. And whenever you serve others, it always comes back to you. Taking the bar exam has got to have been, every time I think about going to law school, finishing law school, and passing the bar exam was one of the most challenging times of my life. When I was in law school, I lost my brother to suicide. And it was a very difficult, very tumultuous time in my life. I wasn't sure how to navigate my life. No one quite knew the depths of my pain, of my grief, of my struggle, but I knew that if I kept, myself in a certain way, and that little turning point in my life was everything. It told me that I can do anything, I can get through anything. And I didn't pass the bar the first time, but the second time around was such a beautiful experience. I wrote about it in my book called Inspiration in My Shoes. And it made me believe that I can do anything with the right focus. And I wrote that book as a reflection to other young people who struggle, to let them know that they can get through anything. A fond memory of my time at the University of Toledo has to have been being with my husband. I will say that when we first met, we weren't on the best of terms. At the time, I was dating someone else. But I just felt like David, when I first met David, I was really intrigued by him because, and I will say that at the time it was a difficult time because I had a lot of biases. And one of my biases, which is what I teach, so who better to talk about biases than me, because I had a lot of them. And one of them was, one, I would never date a white guy, okay? And then number two, I never drank, and I saw that he was drinking. I'm never gonna be with this guy. But when we met, it was as if I knew this guy saw me. That was such a great time. It was a great experience for both David and I. And the funny thing is no one knew we were technically dating, but we were featured in the Collegian on the same day. It was so hilarious. That was when I kind of knew, I go, okay, God, you really have something pretty special for us. And so I will say that whole exchange, it's getting me kind of teary-eyed thinking about it, because it was really special to me, because it was like someone saw me and I knew that we were destined to be together. And of course, it took us some time to get together, but we've been married for 26 years, so it's really amazing. It was mostly in law school, because law school, as I mentioned, was a difficult time for me. One of the most profound experiences I had was with, I would say, Dean Closius, Professor Closius. He was the dean at the time, and I asked him, I said, so where do you think where are not a lot of women, and especially not of Black women, where are they not, so that I could go there, and I want to do something pretty impactful. I was always looking for a challenge. I also knew at the time that I was supposed to be a speaker. Like, I knew that there was something I was supposed to give, like outside of the four corners of what's normal. And anyone who knows me, they know that I do not do normal things. I'm just not following the crowds. I don't want to be, just doing status quo. I wanted to be above, but always giving back to my community. And so Dean Closius was great. I also had a great relationship with Rob Salem, who was in the helping us with legal work. There were a lot of people from the law school. Professor Berkowitz, Rhoda was great to me. Carol Front in the admissions office, Barb Greeley, Lee Pizzaventi. She was a contracts attorney, or contracts teacher. And she said, if I ever find out that any of you guys did not read a contract and you had problems, she said, I'm going to come after you. Even if I'm dead, I'm going to come out of my grave and I'm going to haunt you. Now, I'm going to just say, I did not do well in contracts. But you know what my first job was? Negotiating contracts. So it's funny how it all works. The advice that I have to a student is that still she persists. Perseverance is a virtue. That your circumstances might seem difficult right now, but never allow one circumstance to determine your overall life. Some of us come from really difficult circumstances. And if we can use those circumstances in a way that allows us to persevere and rise above circumstances, situations, use that in a positive way. I also tell students, reach out, right? Look for mentors. We have social media. We can reach out to anybody. And believe me, that if you decide that you want to do that, you can, because whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. And I totally believe that with faith, because I have a faith that's bigger that can move mountains. You know, I am the only person that can get in my way. I am the only person that can allow myself to either rise or fall. And either way, I know that I'm going to be able to get above it. And these are the things I constantly mentor my young students about. So keep rising. I want to be remembered as a person who was constantly giving back, but knew the art of understanding how to take my life and all of the beautiful complications, the messes, that I've turned them into a beautiful message, that I was able to understand that the being that I am was able to give back to so many people. I have a desire, I see in my mind 100,000 women that I've helped through my Rise Advocates Academy. And I see that as a global message. I also know that I want people to see me and go, there's hope. There's hope. There's an ability to be able to see beyond my circumstances. And it's a story that I want people to read in the books that I'm going to continue to write, because I want them to do it too. You know, I want people to be inspired. I want people to feel encouraged. And I want people to listen to the things I have to say long after I leave this earth, and let that be an inspiration to them to know that they can rise above any circumstance.